There have been reports around the office that you have been talking baby talk.
Why would people say that?
Well, I have it on good authority that you said the following. Can you read that back to me?
Andy have a boo-boo tummy.
Mm-hmm.
He calls turtles shell beavers.
Well, that's what they should be called.
They're green. Yeah. Beavers are brown.
Definitely, we've had this argument. We've agreed to now talk about it.
But
it's the Al Travis Show. We're lucky to have our next guest in. I've not met him personally. He is David Pundt, and he's with the Minnesota Convention of States. Mr. Pundt, thanks for coming on the program, sir.
Glad to be here. What is that kicking music? That is that's outstanding. Wow.
See, okay, inside baseball, you asked, so I will share because I'm not ashamed of it. A friend of mine I went to high school with, Andy Lacoste, up in the Twin Cities, a great musician.
Wow.
And I followed him, in his little career. We went to high school together. Anyway, when I started the program up, I knew I needed some background music. I got a hold of Andy, and I said, Andy, will you create me something? It's called Al's Place. We talked about a little smoothly blues thing that it would make me happy. Because, so Dave, you heard that for the 5 minutes before we went on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when the rest of the world, the other radio stations, are probably putting their commercials in, their news in, and that sort of thing. It's a filler. It just fills that gap.
Sure.
I've listened to that song, I guess it'd be 20 mints a day, every day for 5 years. I still love the song. So I appreciate you bringing it up. Sometime people hear as we're trailing into the X-outs and that sort of thing. But thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, Andy Lacoste made it for me. It's called Al's Place. It's my song. No one else can have it. Anyway.
Yes. Good. No, it's good music.
Thanks for coming on the program. You run, the Minnesota Convention of States, but before we get to that, give me some background on Mr. Pundt. How did you get it? You've always been into politics. Give me how you get where you're at, sir.
Before we get to that, I don't really run the Convention of States. I've been on the job for 2 weeks now. And,
okay. You give you time, you'll be running the place in no time.
So I'm really new. I mean, I'm just barely able to find the bathrooms.
Okay.
So it's going to be a while. But the guy who was in charge of finding a new leader for the group for Minnesota Convention of States, our leaders resigned and moved out of state. And he called me up and he said, and before he even started, I said, Dale, I know why you're calling. I know you've probably talked to everybody else in the organization. Let me put it this way. I'm busy. I got no time. I'm busy. Did I mention I'm busy?
You mentioned busyness, yes.
Business. And he said, Dave, are you a Christian man? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, give this to the Lord tonight.
Okay.
Let me know if you get a tap on the shoulder. I got bruises on the shoulder. There was no doubt what the Lord wanted me to do, so here I am. I don't really have a long history in politics. I did run for state representative about in 2008 in the Obama years, so it was difficult to be a Republican in those years.
Okay.
And my friend John Ward beat me badly about the Head and Shoulders.
And your background as far as work you did, or you're a lawyer, what was it you did for a living or do for a living?
I've been a rock and roll disc jockey and a news guy. And Where at? For folks who don't know, you're in the Brainerd area, one of our great radio stations up there, places. All up there? Mm-hmm. No, the last station was KLKS. In fact, it was a different version of it. It's not the same place now. But I worked in Missouri, I worked in Arizona, I worked in Omaha, the mighty 1290. If
absolutely
got a fan, really, wow. Okay.
I'm an old radio guy all the time. I try to listen. AM is my gig. So you were radio for a long time. How'd you end up in the Brainerd area?
I was born close to here, probably about 50 miles west of here, in a little town there named Bertha.
Okay.
And my folks moved around a little bit when I was born, but we moved here when I was in second or in eighth grade, 1958. And we moved here, and I've lived in Brainerd for most of my life. I live in east of Brainerd now on a lovely lake home overlooking beautiful Bay Lake.
Nice.
we're the ones that keep the average down. I mean,
Okay.
there's a lot of wealthy, well, a lot of McMansions out here.
Yeah.
We hold the average down so it's a manageable level. Yeah.
Good for you. Okay, so what gets you into politics enough? And I say this in all frankness, I don't think the way we teach civics anymore, 80% of the people in Minnesota would even understand what conventions of states means, that there's that ability to do that. Maybe 10 or 15 could say, yeah, I've heard of that, but very few understand how this process works. How did you get involved with the Convention of States?
I stumbled into it. I was walking into the library down in Brainerd one day about 7 years ago, and they were having a forum. People were talking about the organization, and likewise, I had no idea what it was. It's in the Constitution. Article 5 lists 2 ways to amend the Constitution. 1, the congressional method. 2, by a convention of states. And that's just the beginning of the process. You have to find 34 states to sign the resolution by their legislature to agree to stick within to agree to stick with a topic, or in our case, 3 topics. And then once you get to 34, you have a convention. Each state gets a delegate. You bring up amendments, you suggest amendments, you pass the amendments, and then you give them to the states, because the states have to ratify any convention or any constitutional amendment that comes out of a constitutional convention, just like Congress does. Because every time they pass an amendment, 38 states have to approve it, or it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it's been suggested. Congress has tried to amend the Constitution 12,000 times.
Really?
Well,
that's a shocking number. Did not know that.
Nobody knows that. 12,000 times it's been tried. And you, as a constitutional scholar, know how many times it's succeeded.
Why? We have, what,
it's
16 amendments? 15 amendments? How many amendments to the Constitution?
It's between 26 and 28.
Oh, okay. All right.
27.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. 27 minutes, but some of those we made amendments, then went back. Prohibition, and stopped that. I mean, some of these we've had to hit on a couple of times, so I don't know if that
that's the only one we've had to redo.
Okay.
That's the only time we had to redo. But anyway, that's the point. It's never been completed. It's been attempted a number of times. There have been a number of conventions of states throughout our history, starting back in 1780.
Have any of the conventions of states led to an amendment to the Constitution?
No.
No, okay. Because this is
happened.
okay. So let me ask you this. What are the 3 things that you guys would like to discuss if we got this 34 states to say, okay, we'll go talk about those?
I'm going to have to read those off the back of my
That's
card
fine.
because they're kind of complicated. Impose fiscal restraints in the federal government. Limit the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, term limits on Congress and federal officials. Now, in English, that means deal with the money, the $38 trillion that we're now in the hole, limit the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, rein in the expansive methods that the federal government uses to get involved in just about everything. There's a question about the Commerce Clause in there, and a question about the a due process clause, and about where it comes from and what it means, and what kind of limits we can place on that, and term limits. The one that's most popular with people is term limits for congressional officials, not for our state guys. We'll let them run as long as they want to, but congressional people and bureaucrats.
On the limiting the powers and jurisdiction of government, doesn't that also include things like we put at the head of the Department of what do you want, whatever department, and you say, okay, you're running this thing, and they come up with kind of the rules and regulations, the Center for Disease Control, they come up with rules and regulations that they put on people that we never voted in. They were just appointed into these departments. Isn't that what we're also talking about, is limiting some of that federal FDA and that sort of thing?
Yeah, independent agencies that go on and go crazy. There's supposed to be congressional oversight over this stuff, and it's supposed to be sunsetting, and it's supposed to be all kinds of things that will put controls on these agencies by the people that are elected by us, by the House of Representatives. specifically, and it's not happening. I mean, it doesn't go on. It's been they kick the can down the road and allow it to go on and do whatever they want to do willy nilly, and you know that.
Oh, absolutely. We've got to go to break. When we come back, we'll talk about how people can get involved. How involved does this get? I'm going to ask you this trick question when we get back. If you get the okay to go down in this rabbit hole with 3 different amendments, can states vote on them separately? Is it an all-in-one thing, fix this bad boy, or can they, pick and choose? We'll talk about that and how the process goes right after this with David Pundt. He's the Minnesota president, I presume, with the Convention of States. More after this.
Hey, Brian, what do you call a lobbyist with a sense of humor?
Me?
Close. Momentum advocacy.
We help clients get real results at the Capitol with strategy, relationships, and just enough charm to make it fun.
From policy wins to media spots, we've got your back.
Nonprofits, businesses, coalitions, we've helped them all.
And we do it with nearly 90 years of combined experience.
Momentum advocacy.
As always, your friends at the Capitol. Learn more about our team at momentum-advocacy.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
We've got Dave Pundt on the program, and I appreciate him being here as the head of the Minnesota Convention of States program. We're talking about 3 things they want to get done: restricting the federal government, limit the powers of jurisdiction, imposing term limits on officials and members of Congress, all on a federal level. Sir, this is how I understand it. So you get through Minnesota, and the legislature is going to have to pass the okay for Minnesota to be on the Convention of States list, right? To call this thing. Right. So is that just some representative proposes, I want us to get involved with the Convention of States. They take a vote, they say yes, and you're in. Is that how this works?
That's a pretty short version of it. Yeah, we've introduced a resolution. We've introduced it 7 years for now, or 7 or 8 years, I think it is. And then it goes through a committee, and the
Okay.
committee passes it or turns it down, and then it moves on to a House floor vote, and then it approves.
And it
Governor
hasn't
has-
got to the House floor yet.
It has not even got to the committee yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's a heavy slog. The
Right.
governor has nothing to do with it.
Okay, fair enough.
He doesn't get involved. President doesn't get involved. Congress only gets involved to authorize the convention time and place, and that's it.
I've got 5 minutes. I don't want to lose anything. So you get it passed. They say we're in. How many states are in so far? Minnesota's not, because you said we didn't get it. How many states are in on this already? Do you know?
19.
19. We got to get to 38, halfway, or 34, almost halfway
34. Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So you get to 34, you go to convention of states. I don't care where it's at. So let's say it's in Milwaukee. Okay, it's in Milwaukee. You guys get together and you beat out the wording of these things, right? Because they're going to have to be the ins, the outs, the amendments, and that sort of thing. You all come to a consensus, the 34. Do all 50 get to go, or is it just the 34 that okayed it?
Nope, all 50 go.
Okay, all 50 go.
Everybody gets one delegate, one vote,
Okay.
one vote.
So you go, you beat this thing all up. You have 3 different little amendments to the Constitution. You then vote on it, it gets passed. You all head back to your states. Dave comes back to Minnesota and say, these are the 3. I presume they have to take them word for word. They can't play with them, right? Otherwise, you have 50 states doing it. Go ahead.
Okay. The 3 subject categories that I mentioned are just subject categories, are just general subjects.
Okay.
What the amendments are going to be one single line. It has to do with within that subject or pertains to that subject. So, for example, I mean, one of the ones that has been suggested by one of our leaders is to, if for this point on, have pass only single subject bills.
Sure.
And that would be, and then that would be resolved at work out the language, get all the flowery language. We'd make all of our S's look like F's.
Okay.
And that would just be one of the. That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah, I got it.
It's a constitutional joke. And then it would go in that form. It would be passed by the convention, and then it would go directly to all 50 state state legislatures.
And
now,
they would have to vote on it as written, because each state couldn't do a little amendment here. It's you're all in or all out.
Right.
Okay.
Now it's either one of 2 ways. The original Constitution was passed by special conventions passed in each individual state. It's up to the legislature to decide that. They can do it themselves, or they can hold a convention that everybody gets to vote on the amendment.
All right. So you were brought in this about 8 years ago, I think you said. Was it more than that?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
8 years ago. We're at 19.
Right.
I honestly don't see Minnesota wanting to play in this game. Just looking at the legislature, I don't see them wanting that. Do you?
I'm more optimistic than that.
Okay.
One of the reasons behind it is that we haven't talked to Democrats all that much. We've talked to Republicans. We got a lot of Republicans on our side. They're very positive. Some of the Democrats are starting to come around, but we have to forget the idea that there are Democrats and Republicans involved in this country. We're all Americans.
Yeah.
That's
fair enough.
Point.
So do you feel the momentum of getting to 34 anytime soon? I guess if you're looking at it as a Democrat, I would think you'd want to be involved in the next 4 years. You got the orange guy up there they're not thrilled with. Maybe this is an opportunity to do this. Are you seeing some momentum? Do you think in the next 2 years you might be able to pull this thing off?
I think it's one of those things where it's a guy who plants a tree which he knows he will never sit under to have his lemonade. It's never going to happen. It's for the grandchildren. It's for the great-grandchildren. It's for the future of the country way down the road. I mean, the problems we're looking at to fix are huge. The $1 trillion debt is the biggest one. That's the most noticeable. And people spending 50 years in office or 50 years in a bureaucratic agency, that's the problem. Those are the problems.
If someone is with us on this, Dave, again, Convention of States, how do they get involved? How do they help? I presume money's always a deal. How can they get involved and be rank and file? What does someone got to do to help Dave out?
Always glad to take your wrinkled 20s. Absolutely. Donations always welcome. Go to conventionofstates.com and all the answers are right there. I mean, you can sign in. You can get all kinds of volumes and volumes of stuff. There's stuff on there that even I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, you're new. I'm going to expect you to have it all memorized in no time. We are out of time, Mr. Pundt. I thank you for taking the time to be here. Let's do this again, shall we?
Absolutely.
I really did enjoy you very, very.
Tomorrow would be fine.
I got a list of guests tomorrow, but we'll get you back on. Mr. Pundt, I do appreciate you. It's conventionofstates.com. Go there and sign up today. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.